I guess I will begin this interview by prefacing the fact that you have a deep faith in Jesus Christ.
Okay.
So I will tell you, I didn't choose the Army chose me.
Got it.
And, you know, I can tell you when I first came in, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I did this. But looking back, God certainly had a plan. I say the Army chose me because I had graduated high school. I had a father who was willing to help me, support me through college. You know, he did want me to go and look for opportunities to get scholarships and those kinds of things. So I had an avenue, but I did not know what I wanted to do with my life. I was lost. I knew I didn't want to go back to school.
Right.
And so I was stuck at my little McDonald's job. It was a job, but, you know, I knew that that wasn't my forever. You know, there was something else inside of me. And I was in transition, and I felt like I was in a bit of a rut. And in walks a recruiter, and boy, do they know how to spot, you know, a kid who just has no plan and is looking for something more. And just the discussion that he had with me, like I had this, you know, outside of my parents, I was old enough, you know, had this discussion with this recruiter about, you know, benefits that I really didn't know would benefit me now, right? So yeah, okay, benefits. What else do you have?
Yeah.
And so, you know, talked about the benefits. We talked about educational benefits, and I was like, okay, my dad's off the hook. You know, I felt bad because, again, he wanted to help me, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I thought, what a way to figure out who I am, you know, what I want to do with my life, and oh, by the way, I can you know, help myself get myself through school. And then he talked about travel, and that was the thing that sold me. I was like, I can go where and see what. You know, I grew up in Houston, Texas, big city of Houston, Texas. And I think I was a sophomore when my family moved us to this really small town. So my last 2 years of school was done in this really small town. I think my graduating class was 500 compared to the thousands that I would have graduated with in Houston. So the opportunity to get out of that small town just won me over.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was one of the most difficult things that you experienced in being in the Army specifically?
So, wow, that's a huge one. There are a lot of challenges to being a young person and joining the military, right? That's significant in and of itself. But I will tell you, being a female, a young lady joining the military was quite an experience. And I will say to you that I was very wet behind the ears. I didn't realize how sheltered I was at home until I got into the military. And, you know, the military is a competitive environment. Hands, you know, just on its own. You know, they teach you, you're going to go compete for the next rank. You know, if you work really hard, you're going to get the high PT score. If you shoot your weapon well, you're going to get the expert badge, and this is pushed, right? All the time, because they need you to be your very best, because our mission is so significant. But, you know, you enter this organization, this competitive organization, and then you find it's a male-dominated competitive organization. So not only am I competing against myself, but I'm competing against all of these, and my peers, my female peers, but all of these males for just these few opportunities of advancement. And so you learn a lot about, you know, yourself as a human. You understand the need for competition. You learn it over time, the need for competition. But until you figure that out, boy, the days are pretty long and pretty hard. And so trying to navigate, again, this male-dominated organization and having to understand the male culture and how to get along in it, right? Because you have to adapt to it they're not necessarily going to adapt to you,
Right.
at least in my time. I think, the military, as we go along in time and as we understand the dynamics of the individuals in the organization, we get better at it. We still have a lot of work to do. But in my time, it just we were still struggling. So I think that might have been the toughest challenge for me.
More difficult things. What was one of or several of the better things
Yeah.
about being in the Army?
So I will tell you, again, just the opportunity for growth. In my time, in my career, during my career, there are many times when I was pushed outside of my comfort zone. And I proved to myself that I could accomplish things that I never thought I could. Getting through basic training alone, going back to my beginning, and not explaining to my parents what I was exploring, and then making the decision to do it, my entire family laughed at me. They're like, "You're gonna do what?" No, not a track star, no sports, no. I hated my McDonald's job because I had to take out the garbage, and I was enlisted, so I've taken out much garbage. But again, so when I say pushed outside of my comfort zone, I mean from day one. When I didn't understand what it was, what I was heading into, but boy, when I got there, I figured it out really quickly. But again, the fact that I woke up day after day after day doing things that I never thought I could accomplish. Right. I taught myself that if I step out in faith, right, if I step, it can happen, whatever that it is. Did I get it all right? Will I fail? Will I learn lessons? Absolutely, that's part of the journey. But I also taught myself that I will pick myself up when I do fall or fail and keep going.
Right.
So, that was significant for me. And it wasn't until I was much older in my career that I started doing it on my own. So I kept getting pushes, I can name a few people, and I don't know if they will ever see it. Major Cerruti. I was an E3 going to an E4. And she saw something in me, and she's like, "You need to get to the promotion board." E4. You need to get to the promotion board ASAP. I was like, no way. I've heard about that promotion board thing. I'm not doing that. And so I came up with every excuse. And every time I had an excuse, she had an answer. To the point I told her, I have my basic training greens, my Class A's, my basic training Class A's, and you got to have nice Class A's to get to the board, and I can't afford that right now. She offered to buy me Class A's, and I was like, okay, I'll buy my own Class A's. I felt bad, but it was my excuse. It wasn't something that I couldn't do for myself. She pushed until I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then you get to the board, and you score a near max. I think I missed it by 1 point. And I can remember that because that was significant to me, because again, I didn't believe in myself, but I showed up. I prepared, I showed up, did my part, and then the rest was taken care of, right? And I exceeded. To the Sergeant Major, Staten. I can't even say her name at the moment. She was a tough one. I didn't agree with, her leadership style entirely, but boy, does she know how to push you as an individual. And, I remember being an E6 at this point, staff sergeant, and I'd been passed over for promotion boards, and I was just like, man, I don't understand, I can rock this S1 thing, and, my PT is on point, and my weapons are good, and, I'm trying to go to school. That's important. We'll get there. But I couldn't understand, what it was that I wasn't doing. She went to a promotion board, and she was an MP. I was an AG. She walked down the hall to ask some questions. And she came back to me, and she's like, Monica, you're just going to have to set yourself apart from your peers. You're going to have to go do something that nobody else is doing. That's the bottom line of this, because she didn't understand why I was being passed over as well. So I don't know if she made the call, But all of a sudden, I was DA selected to drill sergeant school. And it's something that she had told me I needed to do before. And I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And of course, more excuses, right? And so again, selected to to drill sergeant school. I'm like, there's no way I can do this. But there you go. You go to drill sergeant school and you exceed the standards, and you're on the commandant's list, and you're off to basic training doing some pretty whore stuff. And again, it's cumulative, right? You take one step and you grow a little bit. You take another step and you grow a little bit more, and you gain confidence in yourself along the way. And I will tell you, I am in a job currently that requires, it's a pretty significant position. I am in a setting with a lot of important people, a lot of smart people doing a lot of great work. And there are many times when I tell myself, what are you doing here? But I look back on my experiences in the military, and I say, you know what, Monica, you've showed up for yourself time and time again, and you've excelled time and time again. This is no different. You give what you've been given, right? And he's going to take care of the rest the way he always has.